Hi everyone, I'm Matt, and welcome to Making Dollars and Cents at the Box Office, Rogue One edition. Get it? One, like W-O-N, like rogue pun. That's right, blasting its way straight to the top of the box office this weekend, as well as snagging some serious record-breaking achievements, was Disney and Lucasfilm's latest Star Wars universe installment, Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. Making the jump to hyperspace and spot number one this week, Rogue One pulled in $155 million domestically alone. That makes it the 15th highest grossing film of all of 2016. And guys, that's in 3 days. After waiting an entire year, avoiding all trailers and posters and any kind of spoilers for Rogue One whatsoever, I finally got to see it Friday night and my mind just about exploded. All I knew was this film was a one-off film based on a simple yet poignant reference in the very first Star Wars film, A New Hope. It's a story about a group of rebels who track down, fight, and steal the plans for the Death Star so that the events that transpire in New Hope can be achieved. And without giving too much away in terms of plot or twists, I will say this film puts to rest, finally, the decades-long joke and critique that the Death Star was too simple to destroy. And if you really want the reason as to why that is, go see the film. That, or check out our Rogue One review, which gives an in-depth look at the film and the story. The preceding weeks for this film will be really interesting to see how they play out, because it honestly is setting a precedent that I know studio executives at Disney are going to be monitoring really closely. First, the film has a decent bit of competition going up against it this coming weekend with the release of 5 newcomers. Second, while the film is still very much a Star Wars film, it doesn't advance the canon like the 7 other predecessors have, and that could see a sharper decline in the overall second weekend performance of the film. It could end up only dropping by 40%, similarly to how Force Awakens performed its second weekend last year, but more realistically, it'll probably end up performing about 50% lower than it did this weekend, which would still put it atop the box office with $75 to $85 million, and no other film next week has even a chance of coming close to that. Especially not this week's other newcomer, Collateral Beauty, whose opening weekend was not so pretty. The film opened to spot number 4 this weekend with $7.1 million from 3,000 theaters, effectively making it the worst opening for a Will Smith-led film. Surprisingly, opening day audiences gave it an A- on CinemaScore, which I am shocked by, but I guess if you're looking for a holiday sob fest film, this is your go-to. There's definitely nothing wrong with that, but I am saying that for a film that opened as counter-programming against Rogue One, it didn't have that hot of a debut, and it's honestly just gonna get left out in the cold this coming weekend. And the festivities get kicked off extra early this weekend, for most starting on Wednesday, for titles such as Sony Pictures' Passengers, the film adaptation of the video game Assassin's Creed, and Illumination Studios' latest animated feature, Sing. And arguably, that's the film that probably has the best chance of scoring a second place finish this coming weekend. Sing is the story of an ensemble of animals who get thrust together on a journey of talent discovery as they each compete in a massively publicized talent show hosted by Buster Moon, a koala who is making a last-ditch attempt to save the failing theater he operates. As really the only family-friendly film this weekend aside from Moana, and having some awesome voice actor talent such as Matthew McConaughey and Reese Witherspoon and Scarlett Johansson, just to name a few, Sing is gonna hit some serious high notes with audiences this weekend. For films like Assassin's Creed and Passengers, the forecast is not so clear. Assassin's Creed stars Michael Fassbender and is based off of the massively successful video game series of the same title. For those unfamiliar with that basic storyline, I can tell you that this film will more or less be about a man going back in time using the memories unlocked within his ancestral DNA so that he can discover secrets and answers to mysteries that will help him fight an oppressive order known as the Templars in his present day. And while that probably sounds like the weirdest plot ever, as a huge fan of the video games, I promise you, they execute it perfectly. The film adaptation, I'm not so certain. But now to Passengers. A film I was excited to go see until I saw Arrival is our third and final film to make an early bid on the Christmas box office. Passengers is the story of Jim and Aurora, who are humans aboard a ship on their way to their new home world. But after being woken up about 90 years too early by a malfunction on the ship, the two of them begin falling in love with one another as they're the only two awake. Soon they discover the ship is in grave danger, and they together must work to save not just their lives, but the 5,000 lives aboard the ship. Aside from being another sci-fi space flick, this film doesn't offer me or its target audience anything other than some flash in the pan and some star power that'll be forgettable within a week's time. So don't mind me if I pass on Passengers. Releasing then on Friday, we have Why Him, starring Bryan Cranston and James Franco. This one looks like it'll be the holiday adult comedy option for the 18 and older crowd, and arguably poses the best chance at third place this coming weekend if we're being honest. And our final wide-release newcomer of the weekend will be Paramount Pictures' Fences, starring Denzel Washington, opening on Christmas Day. Fences is a strong, bold-looking Oscar contender with what appears to be powerful performances from Washington, Viola Davis, and a slew of other tried and true actors in this 1950s race, regret, and equality film. This film is no doubt going to be a hard, difficult one to watch, and I know this is going to be a beautiful film, which will sadly most likely not get the full attention it so adamantly deserves. The film probably isn't going to see over $6 million given all the other competition from both the major and minor studio levels, but this is a film that I am going to make a point to go see this weekend, along with going to see Rogue One like another 12 times. So all in all, our Christmas movie stockings are going to be stuffed this holiday weekend, what with a ton of talent from different movies and genre topics. I know I say this a lot, but there is something arguably for everyone to go see this weekend. So, after spending Christmas morning with your friends and family, go out to your local movie theater and show these films some love. As always, if you like this film, click subscribe so you can keep up with us, comment or like if you want to join the conversation, and we'll see you next week as we close out this year's Making Dollars and Cents at the box office.